broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
And we're back, Doctor Who fans! Thank you for joining us late this Sunday evening for the Doctor Who After Show here at AFTERBUZZ TV. I'm your host, Zach Wilson, and we are so excited to talk to you about tonight's episode, the Zygon Inversion. You can tweet at me throughout the week, throughout the show, at @ZachWilson. Now let me introduce you to my fantastic panel. Back as always, Yael Tygiel is here.
Hi everybody, you can tweet at me at Yael Tygiel, that's YAELTYGIEL.
And I'm Tauri Miller, you can find me on Twitter at TauriJ, it's Taurijay.
Alright, let's get talking about Doctor Who. We get so far, I love this song.
It's
tune.
really so pumping me up.
Yeah, right?
Weirdness. Yeah.
Alright,
Okay.
now as the music rolls out.
Oh yeah.
We're talking about the
so good.
second part of a two-parter that, as we said last week, is more of a two-parter than I think definitely any this season. Because it's really one episode.
Yeah.
When you get down to it. The names are almost the same. It's the Zygon Invasion, the Zygon Inversion.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to keep track. No, we're very on top of it.
We're on top of this stuff.
First reactions, guys. What did you think of the finale of this story?
I really liked it. After last week where I felt like it was just set up, I feel like it was worth it for this episode. I didn't so much like how it started because I was like, let's get to it. And then we had the most magnificent piece of dialogue, monologue, soliloquy that we'd ever heard. And it was beautiful. The Doctor explaining everything.
Yeah.
It was so beautiful. It was like actually beauty in his mouth.
Tari.
Yeah, she took the words right out of my mouth. It was a really good episode. There was definitely a lot of payoff for last week's episode. There was a lot of emotion. And like I will say it now that I love Osgood.
Osgood's the best.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Bottom
In a
line,
nutshell.
Osgood is the best. I really loved this episode. It was a little slow in the beginning and the middle. A little bit. It was like, I'm still on the edge of my seat. I think it would benefit from watching all of it at once as a movie. But even the more that we got into this one, the more I was just hooked by this show or by this episode, and the more it became apparent, like, this is such a sequel to the 50th. Like, my next thing when I have time is going to be, I think after the season, is going to be to sit down and watch the 50th and then this episode together.
Yeah.
The 50th being, I did a little roundtable email thing for the TV Fanatic. We just did an email thing about, like, what do you think of this episode? And there's 5 questions on TV Fanatic. Check it out.
Awesome.
For last week's episode, not for this week's. But, and one of the questions was, how much do you remember about the 50th? And 3 out of the 4 people, including myself, were like, "Oh, I watch that episode all the time," because it's just the most to me, it's the most rewatchable of Doctor Who episodes, because it so stands on its own, but is such a big story and such a fun story. And plus, it's like, no matter what Doctor you're in the mood for, if you're looking for Tennant, you're looking for Smith, you're looking for a little, like, outside the box John Hurt, you're looking for Eccleston, good, like, you gotta go. Sorry. Even if you want some Capaldi, it's in there. There's like that mini amount of
3
Eccleston
seconds.
too. Really, all the Doctors are in there. Anyway, I'm off on a tangent. But
a
because of
relevant
that,
tangent.
I have watched that episode a number of times, and so this just becomes a great extra thing to watch afterwards, and ties up all of the storylines. So let's dig into it. Let's get into this episode. The big story the big thing was Bonnie and the Resistance. Coming to a head. We wind up back in the Black Archives. What did you guys think of? I mean, I just want to get to the chase because like everybody's thinking about it. What did you think of the big end reveal
of the Osgood boxes? I loved it. I was so excited to see it. I like that we it's just so brilliant. And to see them and that they're the same, you open them and we have both buttons and you don't know what to push. And it's this standoff and the doctor is just shouting in his American accent, which I was not a fan of because I was like, stop saying brilliant things and sounding dumb. But like, it was just... I loved everything about it. I can't even like find the words, and the boxes themselves were so interesting because you wanted to know. Like I was like, oh, I know which one it is. I know which button to press for each of these things. Like I know it.
Well, it feels like you should know because it's truth or consequences, which is fascinating to find those in the boxes.
Right.
I actually, specifically, what do you guys think is like the reason that is specifically in the box? Like we get why it's relevant. Truth, the Zygons are outed, which seems obvious to me. That like when you hit the truth,
that's what I was thinking.
It's the truth, and everyone is shown for who they are. Consequences, everybody's gonna die.
Yeah, but the consequences could also be the consequences of revealing the truth.
Right.
So like, it's so smart.
When I finally got the chat roll up, so I am keeping up with you guys. And yes, I did get a haircut. I don't know why that's relevant, but there was several comments about it.
You did.
Thank you.
Yeah, looks great.
No one said that. Oh.
I did. Just now.
Just noting it. Go on. Truth or consequences.
But so when did the doctor put those stamps in the box?
Well, I think he says we've been here before.
15 times, he says.
Right.
What?
I love it.
Does Clara forget?
Not this time.
Yeah.
Is she just has Clara just not been involved all these times?
I mean, maybe. I mean, she was absent from the last adventure for the most part. So there is a significant amount of time that they are traveling apart. I felt that the 15 times comment kind of like negated everything.
I kind of wanted to ignore it.
Yeah.
Personally. I didn't like it.
But it also, for me, made it make more... I mean, it still legitimized it in that, like, this one commander telling everyone to stand down doesn't quell their feelings about what happened. So it would make sense that someone who's part of this radical group would rise again, being the new commander, and then this whole thing would happen again.
So my thought was that Kate had been there 15 times, right? Because he says it to Kate. And that something had
not
happened.
that Bonnie had been there. I don't think that was the implication.
But I mean, it sounds like what he's saying to Kate is, like, that something has come up in the Zygons, that Kate has gone, we have to go to the boxes. We have to do this.
Yeah.
And we've ended up there again and again and again. Not necessarily even with other people, with Zygons, with Clara, with anybody.
Kate just struggling with it.
Yeah.
Maybe. One thing with the why they hesitated, Alan points out, they know the doctor lies.
Right.
So he could easily switch the buttons around. He
He could even switch the boxes.
Yeah. I mean, they're identical.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, okay.
One's
so
red and one's blue.
Yeah.
Just so we're clear.
Identical.
I wonder which one is supposed to go with which version of Osgood. A red one for the Zygon, perhaps, and a blue box as a gift for Osgood that is Tardis blue.
What?
don't know what you're talking about, Zach.
That sounds crazy.
Side note, in that scene, did you notice in the background one of the Meyer helmets
Yes.
was like in the little glass case that used to have the vortex manipulator?
Yeah, it was directly behind them. The whole scene, I went, we get it. just like in the first part of the thing, everyone was like, did you see the picture of the first Doctor? And then this time it was the safe. And I went, we get it. Like, we see it.
To be fair, I missed the picture of the first Doctor.
How?
I didn't know. I probably blinked.
Yeah, it's real quick.
Don't blink. God, if you know anything.
Well played.
Thanks.
Okay. The point is, I wanted to point it out in case anybody missed it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I did love this whole sequence once it gets in there. My issue with the 15 implications is it sort of implies that this is going to happen again.
Right.
And that it took 15 times, or if it's not, it took 15 times for them to get it right.
Right.
That's a big number.
Yeah.
If it had been 3 times,
Right.
then I get what's happening here. It would feel more impactful if it was once.
Yeah.
But I get it. I get the point that they're making there. And it doesn't take away from a great the storytelling that was at work here.
Yeah.
As you guys said, the speech.
Right.
The speech.
Yeah.
I liked the idea that to him, Bonnie is a child. To be fair, everyone is a child in comparison to the 2,000-year-old man.
Yeah.
Right.
But the way that he unleashes on her is so much frustration. And again, perfect sequel to the 50th because, we know now the war and the horror that the Doctor has been through and how much it plays into who he is.
Yeah.
Were there any standout like lines or moments in that whole speech that you guys just like?
It just felt like the Doctor to me. You know what I mean? Like, I miss. It reminds me of like when Eccleston shouts, "I am talking," right? And when Tennant points out that if there's one thing he could do, or is it Matt Smith who says one thing I can do is talk? Maybe it was Eccleston. They all say it. They all talk a lot.
It's true.
And
They all make that point.
Yeah, and it just felt like, there he is. There's the Doctor. Like, not only can I talk, but I can explain to you why this war and this, genocide is wrong. And that's what the Doctor does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's such a moral question that there isn't a good answer for.
Right.
There really isn't. I mean, we dealt in this episode with the we saw all the sides because we see the side of the Zygons want to be able to live them as themselves. They want to be able to live their own life, as we discussed a little bit earlier tonight on Grimm, weirdly dealing with the exact same issue potentially.
We believe.
Yeah, we believe. But regardless, tune to the Grimm After Show Sundays at 6 p.m. The shopkeeper, I want to call him, but I don't know what the bald man that Bonnie inverted. There was tell me if you guys thought this at all. Did anyone else think for a moment that she was turning humans into Zygons?
Yes, that did cross my mind.
I mainly had that thought because of the title of the episode, Inversion, that like, oh, she's gonna press a button and all the humans are gonna turn into Zygons all of a sudden.
Right.
Yeah. No, that did cross my mind.
It's like a Dr. Seuss, like the Sneetches.
Great reference.
No, I like that a lot. I mean, I didn't think that she was turning humans into Zygons, but I did think that there was going to be, like, it was essentially, she was going to use this, like, inversion to be kind of like a suicide bomby kind of thing, and that she was going to drop this monster into the public and then cause the mass panic. It was a lot less panicky than I thought it would be, but, like, at the same time, she still was able to seed the, I guess, the fear and the doubt into the masses through news and internets.
The internet.
I mean, we never saw that kind of any kind of mass panic. We saw the one video get posted. We never saw really reaction to it.
I think also what I would have liked in terms of the reaction to it was the fact that we're post a lot of other alien things happening on Earth, and at least England being aware of things like that. We're after the Battle of Canary Wharf. We're after these things.
It's something that Doctor Who has always, I don't know what the right word is. I don't want to say mishandled, because that's too heavily negative.
I mean, it lets it slide.
Yeah, there's a certain, I guess, just ignoring how much people would have seen by now.
I know that there have been episodes where it's like sometimes it is referred to as, do you remember when this occurred?
And then they find reasons for people to have not remembered. But it is sort of like one of those Doctor Who things that's sort of swept under the rug.
I just would have liked some acknowledgement of like more aliens have returned or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
and
another alien sighting.
yeah, what is this thing?
Yeah.
Like, as opposed to like this Levine.
Right.
Like that episode had like direct, like, it was all over the news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't forget that. We saw a UFO in LA this week, and no one shuts up about it.
Did we?
Well, but
We saw an unidentified flying object. That is a UFO.
Yeah.
I didn't say it was aliens.
No,
Though-
I didn't see it.
I would say that like those stories are usually sensationalized, and so it happens, everyone's up in arms about it, and then it just disappears from everyone's minds. In that, like, it over time it becomes just a story that happened, or it becomes like an urban legend. So it's not necessarily, though it happened, it's not necessarily taken as fact anymore.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. It's interesting.
Did you have favorite quotes from the speech that you wanted to give us that I spoke over, as always?
No, I mean, I had written a couple parts down that I was really fond of. Just you're a bunch of cruel people doing cruel things to people who will be cruel to you in reverse, something to that effect.
I mean,
yeah, because I loved the idea that, like, and we kind of touched upon it earlier, in that violence is always a cycle. It's someone hurting someone, causing them to either hurt back or hurt someone out of the anger used from them being hurt. And so it never ends until someone decides to forgive. And I really liked that concept.
Yeah, that the Doctor is like, I forgive you.
Yeah.
Like, I see what you did. I see why you did it. And I forgive you. I think he understands her reaction. He understands why she's doing what she's doing, and wants to fix the problem. And I mean, this is the continuation of the political commentary that was more heavily displayed last week. But it's the idea that, like, it's just back and forth. Like, one side causes problems, the other side reacts, and because of that reaction, that violent reaction, the first side attacks bigger.
Yeah.
And then it just builds and builds and builds, and maybe one side wins, but then there's just somebody from that side that just sticks around, causes the problem all over again.
Right.
Trying to leave this as vague as possible, so not get political.
Yeah.
But the episode does deal with that idea, and it's more about, like, it's cruel. Everyone involved is bad.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to stop it.
Right.
Yeah.
And who are you going to call? The Doctor.
And Osgood.
And
And
Ghostbusters.
Osgoods.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Osgood.
Okay.
Okay.
Are we going to talk about the end? Because I have issues.
Okay, well,
I don't.
I mean, in this episode, we got we had a whole bunch of, like, different Osgood doing different things. We saw her, like, going with the Doctor jumping out of a plane.
Yep.
Great. The Doctor's parachute was a British flag for some reason.
You want
course.
camouflage.
Yeah.
He said camouflage. Union Jack camouflage. Genius. I've never wanted to jump out of a plane more with a Union Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I want now.
A lot of people in the chat roll are talking about how somehow she's the Doctor's biggest fan, but doesn't know what Tardis stands for.
That really bothered me.
That surprised me.
Well, I felt like that was the indication that that Osgood was Bonnie. In that, like, I feel like there was a conversation before where Osgood had talked about what the Tardis is. So, like, Bonnie being new to this whole ordeal.
Okay, great. Answered, fans in the chat roll.
I will love that. Yes.
No, that's perfect because, well, that's the big reveal at the end right there is that Bonnie has duped Osgood, which confirms the Osgood that we had in these episodes was human Osgood.
Right.
It had to be. It wouldn't work like the other way.
Okay.
I think we can say that pretty safely that human Osgood has to be there for Bonnie Osgood to form the psychic
Osgood.
link.
Right.
Okay.
So the Osgood that died last season in the finale was
Zygon.
the Zygon version. I swear I thought they were going to like pretend that was all faked for a moment when the second Osgood popped out. I got real mad for about a half a second until they explained it.
Then it was Bonnie?
Yeah, you had problems.
Yes.
Talk to me.
I don't like that Bonnie has gone from the leader of the rebellion to Osgood, right? Like, I can accept her as staying on Earth and, like, trying to stay peaceful. I cannot accept that Bonnie, the leader of the rebellion, who tried to shoot the doctor, is now Osgood. Because Osgood is so, not only fangirly, but, like, peaceful, and the keeper of the Osgood boxes.
Well, see, here's what I'll say to that.
Yeah.
Tari, sorry, do you?
I mean, I have a thing, but go.
It
We're aware.
I started talking about this a little bit last week. My theory on the original two Osgoods, because it was very similar with the original Zygon Osgood. That was a Zygon that was bent on destroying humanity so that the Zygons could take over from the 50th.
Right.
It was when that Zygon became Osgood and then had its own memories wiped away. Osgood is such a strong person and has such a powerful personality that the Zygon version decided in that moment to not go back to being a Zygon.
Okay.
Even probably, I imagine, as memories started creeping in or started regaining access, I think Osgood's personality is so powerful, as we saw with Klars, that she was able to affect the Zygon.
Yeah.
I think Osgood is that strong that just by psychically linking to Bonnie, who had just had a life-changing moment, and so thus was more malleable, more impressionable, but also more willing to accept those kinds of things, just became so influenced by Osgood and her peacefulness that she begins to feel that way, begins to go that direction, and doesn't have all of it, thus not knowing what Tardis stands for.
Fine.
I'll
accept that.
I would further that in that, essentially, I liked that she became the new Osgood because it means that she's going to be cleaning up the mess that her and the rebellion had started.
Ooh, I like
which
that.
is the opposite of what the Doctor usually does. The Doctor is a warrior and he does war stuff, but then he leaves.
Yeah.
But she has to kind of be there and
with
deal with the aftermath.
All right.
She has competition for that cleanup job, though. There's different contractors.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And they both like to say me. Like, are you the Zygon or the Osgood? Me. Like, or who? What was the line? I know that Osgood at one point said me.
Yeah.
It stood out.
There was something in the chat roll?
That was a quote. You're human, you're you, human or Zygon? Me. That was the quote. Sorry.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, me is off dealing with stuff elsewhere.
Wait.
Just Dancing Through Life said, Yael, you must forgive.
Fine, I've forgiven. I've accepted it. I'll allow it. I just love Osgood so much that I have concern about Bonnie.
Right.
Because, Bonnie was evil. And I get that, like, Bonnie has had a life change, which I think is great. And the fact that he left her memory, because I also was like, you cannot wipe her memory. That defeats the whole purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So letting her remember that she made this decision is great.
Yeah.
And sure, that she's staying to clean up her consequences, dealing with the consequences. I like it. I'll take it. Okay. Forgiven. Clara and her brain power, amazing. I want to say this has been Jenna Coleman's best performance this season.
I would agree with that.
They're making her stronger every episode.
Yeah.
Which I'm loving because we know where it's headed, and I love that we've decided to get rid of her on this strong note.
Right.
And this performance of Bonnie versus Clara fighting when Clara's in the pod in her own brain, that was such an amazing and very cool scene. And her controlling it, so good. The lying and the lie detector, so good.
I would say it's also, she was so menacing. And she's such a small girl,
Yes.
so to play that menacing of a character and you feel it, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, Bonnie felt both childish and powerful at the same moment, and that is incredibly difficult to achieve.
Yeah. Jenna, amazing. Jenna deserves props for this episode for sure.
I've had a lot of problems with Clara, as I have not been shy to say on this show. It has never been Jenna Coleman's performances.
Oh, of course.
I think she's a phenomenal actress, and I'm glad she got to show it off.
Yeah.
With some great writing and some great just stuff to deal with by giving her basically another character to play.
Yeah, but the scene of the two of them telling the truth was so powerful. It was just so it's bringing us the Clara we've been waiting for. You know, we've been waiting for a strong Clara, and every episode she's been building towards it. And this episode, to see Clara take on herself in an evil way was just really cool to see.
Yeah.
And the texting.
Oh
yeah.
I was like, it's not, you can't feel the buttons. You're probably misspelling a lot of things.
I've actually had friends of mine, like we've tried this before, just like sitting there like, how, not looking, how well can you type out a sentence? And you'd be surprised how well you can do it just by muscle memory.
No, that doesn't surprise me, but like it's a touch screen.
Right.
You're always gonna mess it up. Luckily, it always knows what you want.
Yeah.
And it autocorrects.
That dim autocorrect.
Yeah. I'm ducking excited.
One thing that I'm glad the chat roll is bringing this up because I definitely want to talk about it. They didn't address what happens to the other people of London. The people who have been captured by the Zygons. They said that there are tons of people who are now underground in those capsules that have been
pods?
the pods captured by the Zygons. They didn't address. I guess we can make assumptions that the unit is going to take care of it.
Yeah.
But their memories have been wiped. But the solution to this. So I guess they either have to just trust the doctor when he's like, clean this up.
I didn't, when Bonnie went down and fondled the machine, was that not releasing the
I would assume so.
I thought she released people.
Oh, to me that only read as like a message to her team to stand down, which I guess would be equivalent.
Yeah.
They just like have to like go in and like take those people home.
Yeah. And only Kate Stewart's memory was wiped. So essentially, once the doctor came out and the threat was neutralized, then they could essentially sweep in and clean up the pods.
Yeah.
Especially because we've seen that the what's it called? The Black
Archive.
Thank you. I was like, what's the word? The Black Room. The Black Archive. The first time we go in there in the 50th, we've seen that every time they leave, their memory is wiped.
Right.
So it's safe to assume that they came out and people are like, okay, so now what are we supposed to do? Because your memory is wiped. What are orders? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're used to them coming out without memory.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure how to take this from Pete C 1471 in the chat roll. He just goes, being a Londoner and living in London, I can say becoming a Zygon would be an improvement and a step up the evolutionary chain.
All right.
I'm not sure, Pete. I want to be clear. That's not me, Zach, saying that. That is from the chat roll. But it made me laugh, I guess. I don't know.
Pete, here's what I'll say. next time I'm in London, I want to have this conversation face to face. I want to see what you mean. Because the London I see is great.
Well, it brings up an interesting thought about all these people who are hiding as humans. There are all these Zygons that are hiding as humans, and when they finally like find mates and stuff, and like, will their kids be like?
Can Zygons mate with humans?
Yes.
Is the question.
Yes. Yes. I was dancing.
Is that not how we get Osgood?
It's a little different.
Because Osgood, she is
Right.
Zygon and human. She is hybrid.
No, that's
Hybrids. We'll get more Osgoods.
Sweet. Everyone's babies will come out looking like Osgood.
Speaking of Osgoods, the actress who plays Osgood, I don't know if you guys watched the special, like, closer look.
I saw
She
that.
was talking about how she made choices to, like, be very clear about which Osgood was human and which was Zygon.
Yeah. Well,
And then
of
she
the
said-
three, like, she plays 3 Osgoods now in this show.
She says, if you have a keen eye, you will notice. And I was like, I must not have a keen eye. So
Yeah, I did not notice. I mean, I'm sure if we really dissect, like,
yeah.
got in and like looked at every scene, like stitched together, we could find it.
But I'm just saying for fans who want to know and are dying to know, go check that out.
Yeah. I mean, we got our answer by the end of the episode. I think that we were. I want to say that we're on, even though they didn't say it out loud. I didn't think they needed to. That the implication was that Osgood was human, the one that we dealt with most of the episode, and that didn't die.
Right.
That Osgood was human, but now we're back in the same situation, which is exactly where it needs to be. There's a human one and a Zygon one, and they are working together to keep the peace.
Right.
And no one else knows which is which.
Okay.
And they have empty boxes that are powerful
Empty boxes,
with their meanings.
empty
But are they
boxes,
empty?
Empty boxes.
The doctor
Well,
lies.
this is what I wanted to talk about. The doctor does lie. Do you think that the boxes actually can do the things that he said they could do?
I have no idea.
I don't think that because I don't think that the doctor has a lot of faith in humanity, yes, but I don't think that he would ever give them access or the ability to cause massive deaths. So I mean, maybe they like push a button and a flag comes out or confetti pops out, but I doubt that it will launch a missile or it'll launch gas or anything to that effect.
I also think the doctor may not have the things that he needs to make that make it happen. You know what I mean? Like, he needs to have a lot of random things, and he does. But like, I feel like these specific things, I don't think he has what it needs to happen.
Well, we know he has a gas that can kill
but
Zygons.
The other stuff, like, what if the Zygon, because it's happened a few times, let's say, what if the Zygons wanted like something else, that their goal was something else, you know what I mean? That they get to the box and they're like, oh, I think this will do it. I feel like he just doesn't, maybe I'm not explaining it right. I feel like he doesn't have what he needs to make what the Zygons want.
Right.
If they want in terms of like turning every Zygon back to...
Right. I don't think he has whatever technology or magic he needs for them to push that button. Because what if that's not what they wanted?
Right.
Well,
And they get to the box, you know what I mean?
but they shouldn't... But the idea is that they're not at the box. The idea is it's the Osgoods are the only ones standing there. And we know that we see the technology at work that forces Zygons to transform back into red sucker beings.
But the Zygon has that technology.
Yeah, but why wouldn't basically, if I see a technology on this show, I assume the doctor has access to it.
as well. All right. Okay. Then sure. Maybe it is in the box.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I had assumed
I'm not Osgood.
that like everything that he had listed was just it was like, this is what you want, I'm gonna say that's what it is.
Yeah.
So I guess kind of to your point, so basically no matter what happened in that situation, if someone had said, oh, the Zygons want ice cream to rain from the sky, then he'd be like, well, you have your sky ice cream box, but do you really want to push it? Do you really want to drown all the humans in ice cream? Like, I feel like he would have just said whatever it was.
Consequences. Which button would that be?
One does chocolate, one does vanilla.
It's true.
If you hit both, you get strawberry.
You don't get a swirl. You get strawberry. So you can't have both.
No, there's no swirls.
Can't have Neapolitan.
I have no idea.
Oh man, what a tough decision.
Well, there's some great other moments in this episode. Little things. Osgood running around with the sunglasses.
Yeah.
The potential of the Doctor's browser history. Oh wait, I almost forgot about this. What's your first name? Basil. Clearly a lie, right?
Yes. It could be
Yes.
Yes, his name is not
Basil.
Doctor.
Dr. Basil.
Well, but that
He's
could
not a
just be his
doctor.
first name. Who knows how many names a Time Lord has? They could have like 20 names. Like we have 3. We have 3 names. We have first name, middle name, last name.
Sure.
Who knows how many middle names a Time Lord has?
Basil. Nope, he doesn't look like a Basil. None of his faces look like a Basil, is what I mean.
He's John Disco. Is his?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
course.
right.
I'm
Basil
Dr. John Disco.
Basil Disco.
Like the disco thing has become like a running.
It's weird.
You know, like yeah.
He's the disco doctor, guys.
Dr. Basil Disco.
He plays the guitar.
What was the great mouse detective's name? Was that Basil too? I only bring that up because someone once told me that if you watch the Great Mouse Detective and imagine that it's the 10th Doctor, it makes it a lot more fun.
That's what we're doing this weekend.
Another thing I really liked. Curious how you guys felt about the opening with Clara like trapped in this like creepy little like inverted world.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
I can't say it enough. I really loved everything about Clara versus Bonnie and Clara in her mind. I think that was just such a brilliant way to see it and a brilliant way to have this conversation. Mm-hmm. It made the most sense. It reminded me a lot of the library, right? Where we have Cal flipping through the channels when she talks to the Doctor and Donna.
Yeah.
I was like, you guys know what I'm talking about, right?
I was
Cal, the little girl in the library
Yes.
with Dr. Moon.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Yes.
It reminded me a lot of that world, and I loved it.
It made me think of. It actually made me realize how often we see Jenna Coleman trapped in her own mind. Like the first time we meet her, she's trapped in her own mind, and she's actually a Dalek. In the Christmas special, she was trapped in her own mind when the facesucker was on her, and again now in this situation. And I'm wondering if that's going to be a thing.
Oh. Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I love the way that this played because it is the idea of seeing what's behind that. Like when you are trapped in your mind, what does that feel like? What does that look like?
This is toothpaste.
Yes, that was so good.
It was so
That made me
good.
laugh.
I was like, is it? How old is it? This is toothpaste from 1855.
Looks like it.
Yeah.
Somebody in the channel said it was a They Live reference.
I'm not sure what that is.
It's a horror movie. I haven't seen it in
I don't like scary
years and
movies.
years and years and years, but could be. I don't remember it that well.
I don't like scary movies. Can't
Yells
watch
up,
Listen Again.
baby.
Yes.
How do you feel about scary movies?
I don't like scary movies.
Okay.
Do I like scary movies? No.
What's your favorite scary movie?
I don't watch scary movies.
Oh, okay.
That's
I'll
not
call
true.
someone else.
Somebody, Aqua Blue Mermaid 101 is saying that reminded me of Oswin.
The whole Dalek.
Yeah, the whole conversation and stuff with like her being trapped and just talking with people on the outside.
Yeah.
It's true. And I wonder if it's intentional.
I mean, I've been begging us to get back there.
And they heard your cries, Yael.
I doubt it. I mean, I'm sure they heard it. I doubt they're gonna do it.
Before we I want like for last thoughts on the episode. We're running low on time.
Yeah.
And there's some other stuff I want to talk about. My favorite line from this episode it was just towards the end. That was the long, like when Clara's asking him about like what was it like when you thought I was died. That was the longest month of my life.
Yeah.
It's only been like 5 minutes. I'll be the judge of time.
Yeah. I feel like we're doing what we did when we knew we were losing Amy, and Rory, and every episode is setting us up to remind us how much we're gonna miss this person, and like kind of teasing that it's happening.
Right.
But I'm not.
I'm gonna be honest. I think that they're building up Clara in a way that I will miss her.
Okay.
Because from the way the episodes this season are going, where she's getting stronger, because she
is getting stronger. She's getting better. She's been more interesting this season than she was last year by a long shot.
Yeah.
And I think I'm just she is the longest running companion at this point. Rivaling only Amy and Rory, who had 2.5 seasons.
Right.
Now she has 2.5. And I wouldn't put her that high on my list of companions.
I think they're building her in a way that I'm starting to remember why I liked her to begin with.
Okay. Fair enough.
And I hope that it continues so that when she goes, I am left missing her. As opposed to, had she left earlier, I'd been like, great. It's time for someone new. And I think that they're fixing it. I hope.
Right.
All right. I mean, no, look, I've enjoyed this season. I've enjoyed a lot of Clara this season. I think more than anything, I'm ready for a shift. I love this show. The fact that this show can reinvent itself on a constant basis is one of the best things about Doctor Who. It's why you have 30 some odd seasons.
Right.
What are we at? 36 seasons total now?
Something like that.
And then and a movie.
Yeah.
36 seasons and a movie.
We made it, guys.
But that's where we're at right now. And you can only do that with a show that can reinvent itself constantly. And I'm ready for the next stage.
I think the other great thing is that not only can it reinvent itself, but if you're unhappy with a season, like, all right, wait till next season.
Yeah.
Like,
pretty much.
You don't like this Doctor? All right, come back in a bit. We'll have another one.
Well, speaking of moving forward in the future, let's talk some news and gossip.
What?
If we could. Let's just get into it.
Okay.
The big thing that came out this week, building on some comments that Capaldi made, was he said he wanted to do only 6 episodes in the Christmas special next year. The rumors, as reported by the Daily Mirror, so
Daily Mirror. That classy establishment.
But like there's another side to it that supposedly he's like on board to direct some things as well, and he wanted time, and it's just exhausting. And even Matt Smith has been on record as saying shooting Doctor Who is one of the most exhausting things between shooting and press, one of the most exhausting things in the world.
Yeah.
And it just wore him out. And Matt Smith was like 30.
He started as 26.
Yeah. By the end of it, he was like 30. Pierre Capaldi is a much older guy, so like you would imagine he would not be able to put in the same long hours, and just he's built more things in his career.
Sure.
You imagine he is doing more outside of Doctor Who just because of where he is in his career. Moffat immediately rejected this and went on record as saying no. So to clear up for everybody else, do not worry about what you've read. Moffat said, no, we will have a full season next year and a Christmas special. So 12 episodes and a Christmas special in 2016.
And probably starting August, September.
Yes, it'll be. They have filled into their formula now. This is the season of Doctor Who is September, October to November, December. And then Christmas.
Right.
That's what we get.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's tired, they could just do a Strax and Vastra episode. All them.
Oh my God, the fans would love it. Well, I mean, with Jenny, obviously. You can't forget Jenny.
Yes. She's like part of the package, but it's the two names. You can't be like Vax, Jenny, Strash.
Yes, you can. It's Strax, Vastra, and Jenny. Together.
Yes.
Oh, I want more Vastra and Jenny and Strax.
If Capaldi needs a break, we'll do that.
I want them to have their own show. Forget Class.
Does, right.
Class is like, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it'll be good. We don't know anything about it. But
sure.
I want Vastra, Jenny, and Strax just like for 6 episodes.
Here's what I think. What we used to have back when I loved, there were episodes that were kind of doctorless, right? We had the absorbador guy, the guy who absorbed people, but they couldn't find a name for him. And then they had Blink. Mm-hmm. Those were the episodes, right, where the doctor was barely there. We need one of those. That's what he needs for his break, and it will be a Vostra, Strax, and Jenny episode.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad we're getting the full season next year. I would love to see that. I would love to see the doctor just, I don't know, getting into more. I don't know what I want. Yeah. I don't know what I want. I started a sentence not knowing where I was going. Tari, what do you think?
Yes.
Let me ask you a question if Tari doesn't know anything.
Go for it. Ask me the question.
Because we're losing a companion. Who do you want the next companion?
Stormageddon.
Okay, who do you want that's reasonable?
Stormageddon. That is totally reasonable.
What? Yeah, why not?
Because it's not. I don't believe it's gonna happen.
Okay, here's my thing about companions.
Okay.
Did I interrupt? Or were you asking Tari?
I want your answers. But
okay.
Go. You have a question. You have a question. You want answers? Here's what I want to say.
Okay.
That's what I did to you.
Yeah.
My thoughts for next companion.
Yeah.
More than anything, I need 2 companions. I think that this show, I've talked about it before, but I'll reiterate. I think that the show is at its best, tells the strongest stories, and has the most solid episodes when there are 2 companions plus the Doctor. We had it with Amy and Rory, which is my favorite set of companions. You had it with Rose and Jack, or Rose and Mickey. Those episodes when you travel with all of them, or even Rose and Mom, like it
Jackie
is.
Tyler.
Even if you have problems with like specific things that those companions do, just adding that third perspective gives you a great variation, because you can have the human perspective on whatever we're getting into, which is usually what the companion serves to.
Yeah.
And you can have the Doctor's perspective, and those are usually play well off of each other. But when you add a third, the way that like Amy wanted to like dig into things, and Rory was like a little more like held back, and the Doctor like was like encouraging this while Rory was trying to pull him back. All of that dynamic was more driving and made every episode more interesting and more flexible. And that's, I think, what we lost, especially last season when it was just Clara. Like, if Danny had gone with them, I think it could have been a way more interesting season.
Okay. I agree that it would have been much more interesting if Danny was there, because I wanted to see that. That would be very cool. But I will say I disagree that we need a third companion to make, or a second companion to make it more interesting, because I feel like when you have another person, it forces us to have a B storyline.
Right.
And that distracts from the A storyline. That's how I feel about it.
Okay. I would agree that I don't necessarily need a second companion. The first time it was brought up was when we were talking about this, and that like I think for me it's not necessarily that we need a third perspective. I just need someone who has their own sense of like agency and their own self. And that's my thing, is that like Clara, lover or hater, has been a little more of, she hasn't been the Doctor's friend from my opinion. She's just been like a tag along, or he's been her crutch. Whereas like a companion like Donna had her own like wants, desires. She would go off on ventures separately from him. They would go to another planet, and she's like, I'm going to a spa, do your own thing. That is the kind of companion that I prefer, because essentially they can have their own storylines and live outside of the Doctor, and you also get that other perspective because they have strong wants and desires.
Okay, I mean you're absolutely right. You're spot on. I think that what they'll need to figure out is they need to figure out what is the type of companion. What is the story of the companion that they're looking for? With Rose, like with the Tenant and Eccleston, because Rose was the crossover.
Yeah.
With those companions, we had a very clear arc between the three of them that felt very planned when you go back. You had Rose, which was the love. He fell in love with her. Then you had Martha, which was the rebound. And then not to sure, but this was how I perceived it.
Sure.
Martha was the rebound. She was not that he didn't like her and love her in his way, but he was still dealing with the loss of Rose. And so it was very much like the arc of a normal relationship. It's not that he didn't like her, it's not that she wasn't great for him. He just wasn't ready for it.
Okay.
And then Donna was the realization, I don't need to be in love with this person. They can just be my friend and my best friend who drives me forward, picks me up, helps me out in all the ways, and that's all it needs to be.
Best companion.
She also reminded him how to be a better being.
Yeah.
I was gonna say person,
Yeah.
but it's not. But like, she reminded him how you feel, right? Like, she reminded him you need to feel, and that I love that it was brought back this season when Capaldi saved Capaldi. So good. Space. Sorry, I got distracted. And I agree with you. Both of you, that the companion needs something. But I just wonder, what do you think we're gonna find? Like, where are we gonna find the next one? Do you think we'll have another female companion?
I mean, this is partially is why the other reason that I want to is that I think having a male companion would be fun and different. But I also don't want just to watch two dudes traveling around through time. Like,
Two dudes traveling.
How dare you? Why not?
I mean, this season has done an amazing job of getting in female characters, female perspectives. And like, a lot of people were commenting on last week's episode that it not only passed the standard, like the Bechdel test.
Yeah.
It, like, the crazy thing was, somebody pointed out, it failed the reverse Bechdel test. There were so many female characters that there was not actually a conversation between two men in the whole episode.
There's a reverse spectrum.
Well, it's just a joke, but like
I was like, I have a lot of issues with that.
it was just a gag.
Okay,
But like,
I just wanted
but
to
just the
clarify.
idea that it was so
Yeah.
driven by female characters that there were never two men talking in the whole episode, and that goes away when you don't have a female companion. But I think that having a male companion for the Doctor would be a shakeup.
Yeah.
And that's another reason I want two, because then you can have, well, why limit ourselves? You have a whole dimension in there. There's plenty of space.
Yeah. I want a companion that is an alien.
Yeah.
Like, maybe they don't have to be super effects heavy. I just want them to not be from Earth, and I want them to also maybe even be the last of their species. So we have this connection. I know that the Doctor's over that because he's not really the last of his species anymore. But like, just some way to connect with him.
But that would be so interesting if he's with the last of his kind, like another one is the last, and the companion is like, you mean you could go get them? You could not be alone? Like, that's such an interesting tension. I would love that. I also kind of am okay with returning to him going solo and inviting people to be companion, and then either dying or not coming. Because he invites Osgood.
Well, okay, because that's what I wanted to talk about now. So he invites Osgood in this episode. What do you would you want? I mean, I was like, yes. I was yelling at the TV. I was like, yes, go to the TARDIS.
Hey girl, get in my TARDIS.
Get out
You
of
laugh.
my
That pickup
dream.
line totally works.
Tell us more.
No.
Zach drives a TARDIS, guys.
It's a TARDIS, yo.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Because it does not travel in time. So it cannot be time and relative dimensions in space.
It's totally in reckless driving in space.
Yeah, I think that was... I'm pretty sure that was it.
Something like that.
But what do you guys think of Osgood as a companion? Yay, nay?
Oh, absolutely. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Osgood should be in that TARDIS. Both Osgoods, no. Just Osgood who's not Bonnie.
Right.
I forgave her. That doesn't mean she gets to go in the TARDIS. I just want that
you're not
clear.
going to be rewarded by time and space. I think she would make a real she to me would be that Donna level companion. And where you see in this episode when they're walking around and she's like, yeah, first thing I do is shoot you right in the face. You wouldn't get a word out. I'd just shoot you right between the eyes. And that's definitely like a Donna thing to say, and that's what I want.
No, I want Osgood in the TARDIS. Let's start that campaign.
Yes.
Oh. As I started saying it, I was like, Moffat would shut it down. Like, just because we want it, he'd go, nope. Right? That's a Moffat thing.
Yep. I also had a question, because I wasn't sure. Bonnie Osgood at the end, was she the Eighth Doctor in that? I was trying to, I didn't immediately connect to it, and now I'm, realizing I don't know who she was dressed as.
I don't remember what she was wearing.
She had, a sort of a floral scarf on, and, a silk, it was like a silk scarf.
She had, a long jacket.
It was like a long, it was long, and it was a long beige coat, but not a trench coat like Tennant.
No, was it, Tennant's dad? Tennant's father-in-law. Tennant's father-in-law.
Are you
Fifth
talking
Doctor?
about? Wait, Fifth Doctor.
Look it up.
Yeah, he married the daughter
He's the daughter's
who played
doctor.
his daughter.
Yeah, the doctor married the doctor's daughter, who played the doctor's daughter.
No, it didn't. It didn't look like
guy.
it didn't quite look like the Fifth Doctor.
It's not the Fifth.
It was more of like a coat.
Yeah. Do you know people at home?
Yeah, we're taking it to
guys in the chat roll, help us out, because honestly, I wasn't sure. I thought it evoked the scarf evoked the Eighth Doctor to me. Because he had those curls and everything, so it always felt fancy in my memory.
It could have also been John Hurt. John Hurt had a long jacket and a scarf.
The war.
It wasn't quite like that. Anyway,
you weren't like that.
I really like. Moffat was saying in last week's closer look that when you cosplay Osgood, you cosplay a cosplayer. Because she likes to cosplay.
And then time and space explodes.
But my problem is that I don't want to offend any cosplayers, but I don't consider Osgood a cosplayer, right? She doesn't actually cosplay the Doctor. She just likes to wear
casual cosplay.
It's casual.
It's like what I do on a daily basis.
But she likes to wear
mementos
as opposed to actually cosplay.
Right. So she's in con wear.
Yeah.
Essentially, not necessarily cosplaying. Because then she would be to the T what the Doctor wears as opposed to being more of a walking reference.
Right. Yeah. So you're not cosplaying a cosplayer, you're cosplaying a fan, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People are pointing out, Tom Baker had this scarf. I know Tom Baker had this scarf. Not that scarf.
Because we know that scarf.
One of the Osgoods had that scarf, but there was it was like a silk light thing. Either way,
the Osgood that had that scarf was the one at the end when she met him. She met the caretaker.
Right.
She was wearing the scarf.
Yes.
All right. I mean, another thing that happened this week that I started playing with was Lego Dimensions.
Yes.
For those of you who may not know, released their Doctor Who expansion pack, and it is with original voiceovers from Michelle Gomez, Jenna Coleman, and Peter Capaldi.
Oh, nice.
Ridiculous. I haven't even gotten all the way through it because I've been waiting so I can live stream it, which I tried to do, and then I got food poisoning halfway through playing it. So keep an eye on my Twitch. I'm going to try to do that at some point soon for you guys. So you can see, let me put it this way, because that game also has Back to the Future.
Right.
I put the Doctor into the DeLorean, and the first thing it does, Peter Capaldi says out loud, I could save the world 3 times before this baby gets up to 88. And I died. He also fights with a spoon.
You will get real excited when you get to the Cybermen. That much I can tell you.
That one doesn't come out till January, yo.
Really?
Oh, I mean, there's a Doctor Who level where the angels
Nope.
come at you.
Nope, the Cybermen.
Yeah, I know. The Cybermen are there too.
You'll get to the Cybermen one.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
I'm excited.
I got to see it played. by not Capaldi. He was there watching. Like, this is fascinating.
Yeah, you fight like a giant cyber
Cyber,
head
yeah,
on
yeah.
like spider legs.
Yeah.
It's real weird. It's awesome.
It's like handles, but
yeah,
running
it's like a
around and being evil.
dangerous giant handles.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great.
good.
So yeah, keep an eye on that. Let's get into predictions, you guys.
Oh yeah.
And now, your
I'm gonna lose the chat.
TV.
My computer's gonna die.
Okay.
I love you guys in the chat.
I do not recall what was in the trailer for next week.
To be honest, the trailer kind of looked pretty dull. It looked like a classic base under siege.
Yeah.
I don't believe it's a two-parter. We move into a couple standalones now. Coming back in we're a few weeks out from Maisie Williams, so I'm not sure what it's going to be. It was they're in a base being attacked.
A guy creates a chamber that allows you to never not sleep as much.
Oh, right. Okay.
Then there's a monster that was created as a result, and now it's chasing them throughout this small base. More hallway chases.
All right.
Not another like alien planet. Close to Earth.
Yeah.
Boring.
Why aren't we going to planets?
I have to think there's a reason. It's not budgetary. They've clearly not have a budget problem this year. I think it has to be a choice on the part of Moffat. I think the Doctor is sticking around Earth after the run-in with Davros.
Okay.
I think he must be fearful, basically, of what is coming after the prophecy and of the hybrid and the two warrior races, all that. He knows something's coming. Let's not forget, like, the whole thing was like, I'm gonna die tomorrow.
Right.
Was in our opener, and not that wasn't like addressed, but it's very interesting. It sets something up that I think we're gonna be dealing with in the last 2 or 3 episodes of the season.
Okay.
I guess 1 or 2.
Prediction. Once we lose Clara, he will not come to Earth for like 3 episodes.
It's very specific.
Okay.
No, but like he'll miss her and not want to come back to Earth.
Right.
Maybe he'll just miss her, and he's like, I want to see River, and that's when he goes back in time.
I'm sad. Where's River? I like that.
Where's my wife? She's
like
in
that.
another time.
I really like that.
Tari, what are you thinking?
I don't have any super duper crazy predictions. Everyone knows my everyone knows my whole like Minister of War thing is one of the 2 immortals. That's like my main prediction. That's always going. I think that we're gonna get to the point where essentially Maisie Williams will interact with Clara, and it's gonna be this decision making moment where I still think that Maisie Williams is evil.
In general, or me is
Me
evil?
is evil.
Okay. I was like, Maisie Williams seems really nice.
No, she seems very darling.
Okay.
For next week, I assume, yes, it's going to be a lot of running. It's going to be very much a bottle episode.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get some... I'm hoping maybe they'll kind of talk about this thing that hasn't been coming up the last 2 episodes, but they were kind of really dancing around in the first few episodes where Clara and the Doctor are having these weird moments together, and I'm hoping that gets addressed in this bottle episode. That would be nice.
Yeah. I'm totally gonna steal a prediction out of the chat roll.
Give them credit.
I am. Pete C.
Yeah.
Maisie Williams Cowder, me,
Yes.
and Missy will have a showdown in the last episode. I'm going to extend that theory and build a little bit from yours, Tari, that me and Missy will end up having a showdown that will result in Clara's death.
I like it.
And very much the Doctor is going to blame... These will now be, next to the Doctor, the 2 oldest people that we know of in the universe.
Awesome.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's true.
Think about it. While you think about it, until next week, Yael Tygiel, where can the people keep up with you?
You can keep up with me online at yael.tv. That's yael.tv. I'm also on Twitter and Instagram and a bunch of other shows. If you love Doctor Who, which you clearly do, you have to check out The Librarians. It's written by Whovians, guys. It's literally written by Whovians. So check that out. The after show is here Monday nights at 10 p.m. with this guy and our friend Sam Davidson. Also on Twitter at Yael Tygiel, YaelTygiel.
And I'm Tauri J. Miller. You can find me on Twitter at Tauri J. It's TaurijAY. You can also find me here on AfterBuzz TV on assorted panels. So many I can't even tell you, but they include The Flash, Arrow, Supergirl, and also, yes, The Librarians.
And you guys can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, all those places at Zach Wilson, ThatZachWilson, and all the shows, so many shows here at AfterBuzz, much like Tauri. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., The Leftovers, Grimm with these two fantastic people over here, which was a blast tonight. Great show. 5 seasons in, I highly recommend you go watch it if you haven't. Guys, until next week, I'm Zach Wilson, and thanks for geeking out with us.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.